Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of your Data HQ. We have Sanjay Nadavajala here with us today. Sanjay is an engineering manager of observability and AI at Rancher Labs. He started Opni.io at Rancher Labs, which started off as an AIOps project. But after months of development and talking to customers, AIOps was just a cherry on top. With an expanded scope, Opni has become a multi-cluster observability product with AIOps baked in. Thank you, Sanjay, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So looks like you've been through quite a journey to scope out Opni.io. So what is your process on aligning AI problems with the overall business objectives?
Yeah. So for my project Opti, it started off as a AI ops project, as you mentioned. I work for a company named Rancher Labs. We were acquired by SUSE. Rancher Labs is a leader in the Kubernetes space. Kubernetes is a container orchestration software. It's very popular. It's under the Cloud Native Compute Foundation, and it's like one of the most worked on open source projects in the world. And so Rancher Labs has a variety of different projects. The claim to fame is they're one of the premier multi-cluster Kubernetes management platforms out there. So another one, like a competitor, is OpenShift, but OpenShift is really for single cluster usage, whereas Rancher is for multi-cluster usage. So with that as the context, I started an AI ops project with the intention of using observability data to self-heal clusters that were malfunctioning, whether that be infrastructure, network, or security failures. Be able to identify that using this observability data, using AI models, and be able to auto heal. So like a self-driving cluster is what I was going for. And that's where it all started. And along the way, as I was talking to customers, like it became not just like that we developed the AI portion of things, but rather we control the data that feeds into the AI models too. Customers wanted like the full-fledged pipeline rather than just the AI models, which were part of AI ops.
Cool. So you've identified like a very critical problem that needs to be solved here and come up with innovative solutions for the same. How do you think we should sustain innovation in AI in general?
Yeah, so in my experience, to sustain innovation, like obviously there is at the college level, like there is a ton of research going on at universities. There's a ton of research going on at the industry level too. And those are really like the AI researchers. So constantly tapping into like what they're saying and what they're publishing, that's important. And overlooked aspect of the industrial AI development, in my experience, is the lack of understanding what kind of data is out there. When you're in the classroom, you define the scope of the problem that you're tackling, whereas when you're in the industry, data is often unclean and unstructured, and a lot of the algorithms that are published by researchers does not really translate well to the real world. So like understanding of data and like aspects of the data engineering part of AI pipelines is very overlooked and underrated in my opinion.
So you just sort of brought a flavor of academic research or innovation versus industry. So what do you think are some of the very important things to know that textbooks or structured courses don't exactly teach?
I think it really depends on like what you're trying to do with your AI models and algorithms. Where I focused on and what my team focused on a lot initially is anomaly detection. So knowing what your data is, knowing the importance of false positives, true negatives, like pretty much understanding your data and where the limitations and holes in your approach, as well as the algorithms that you're trying to use in your pipelines, is very important. I think going in there with a hope that there is one algorithm or one tool that solves all is a good way to disaster.
Cool. So to even go with that approach, I think this is like a very rapidly evolving field, which is far from standardization. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to like learn and adapt continuously?
I think one, you have to read a lot of different papers to get an idea of like what people are doing, what they're experimenting with. That probably will inspire you to come up with your own solutions. Like I just mentioned, there is no like one size fits all solution in the AI ML world. And nowadays in academia and industry, there's like so much research that's going on. So you can probably find someone that's doing something similar to what you're trying to do. I would say, like, other than learning as much as you can, I think reaching out to the authors of some of the papers that you see published at conferences is a very good way of understanding better what they were trying to solve and directly asking them, like, what's gone wrong. My team has done that for various papers that have come out in the log parsing space. And I think for every single paper, every single author that we reached out to, they actually got back to us. So that's another thing I would advise people that are in the space or new to the space to reach out directly to the authors.
Got it, got it. And what, in your opinion, is the best way to structure a team of data professionals?
That's an interesting question because unlike the algorithms, I don't think there's a one size fits all. But that said, I think identifying in your AI development processes, like who's good at what, like an engineer, like a star engineer is probably capable of handling like data pipelines as well as the modeling, as well as the model development, right? And those are few and hard to come by. But often I see that some people are very good at data engineering. Others are good at modeling, but not so good at like scaling up the model to fit in the industrial use case. So identifying like what your engineers are good at, and depending on what problem and what the scale of your problem is, sizing your team accordingly and planning tasks accordingly is important.
Got it. And what are some tools and techniques that you use to stay organized in such a busy schedule?
So my project is completely open source. So we try to leverage as many open source tools out there. So we use GitHub projects. We also use Zoob, which is this project management tool that like allows you to create GitHub cards, private cards for your own team. We really take advantage of. I know a couple of my engineers are using GitHub Copilot now, and they're really liking that. So yeah, linters are really nice for people that write sloppy code. So
What's it called? I
yeah,
haven't heard of it.
linters.
LINTERS?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good way of standardizing your code.
Nice. Good to know. So outside work, what do you enjoy and get inspired by?
I like to listen to like a lot of different podcasts. I like to read about what's going on in the world. There's like so much that's going on in the AI world that like you can really apply it to any field. So I like reading about finance. So I like to read about like what the hedge funds are doing with AI, like what is actually being put to use, what isn't, what is hype versus like what's actually being used. Like I always find it funny that a lot of hedge funds use like very basic machine learning concepts rather than some of the fancier deep learning stuff. So I'm always looking out to see like what they're adopting versus what they're not.
Maybe the simpler ones just work, and maybe maybe the simpler ones just work, and maybe they're just easier to explain.
Yeah, the simpler ones definitely just work.
Yeah.
And they don't carry all the glamour that the new ones that require millions of like compute power, TPUs or fancy GPUs to run. So yeah, all of them are interesting.
All right. Thank you very much, Sanjay. This has been a very insightful interview. So everyone follow Sanjay and Opni.io to know more about what's going on in the Kubernetes space. And follow your Data HQ for more expert interviews. Thank you.